In this video, I'm going to show you my grading process from start to finish. So this is my sequence. The first thing I do is I go through these and I figure out what is my hero shot, what image or which clip am I going to base my look off. And I think I'm going to choose this guy. Usually people say you can choose clip with like the widest angle because it incorporates the most elements of your project or commercial, but I don't really follow that. So this is my hero shot. All of this footage is red. So the first thing I need to do is add my CSTs. On my channel, there's a video talking about a specific node structure. You'll see the node structure that I'm going to use here is a bit different, more updated. I like this one a bit more because I feel like it's cleaner and more organized. The project settings, Davinci wide gamut, and you'll see my output color space is 2.2 because if I push this out to web, it's 2.2. If this commercial was for broadcast, for the TV, it'd be 2.4. But most of us use it online. So 2.2 is the way to go. So you go save. Now you'll see all of this is still raw. First thing we do, we're going to group these together. I click on it, shift, I right click, and I say, I want to add you guys to a new group. And I'm going to call this red. Now you'll see you have the pre-clip group here and the post-clip group there. So in the pre-clip, we're going to add your first CST. We're going to move this from red to Davinci. Turn that off. So we've taken all these clips. We're moving it from red to Davinci. If we go to clip level, we work in Davinci here. And then on your timeline level, we're going to go Davinci to Rec 709. Now, if you have a project that all has the same camera, technically you don't have to go to Davinci first. But this is just a good system because if you ever have a project with different cameras and different color sciences, this is the process you're going to follow. So now we're going pre-clip. So all the clips, CST, at the timeline, going back to Rec 709. And this is where I add my omniscope. This is where I add the false color. On this monitor right here, I use the false color a lot. Now let's go to this guy. Okay, so this is straight out of the camera. This is what it looks like. I'm looking at my scopes. I'm looking at my false color and I can see everything is clipped. The first thing I'm going to do with my scopes is I'm going to actually add a reference line. You can see it's already there at 64. At 64, this is when your blacks get crushed. So that's kind of my base that I use. Now let's look at node structure. I'm going to do 5. The 4 is going to be the primary basics. And this is kind of like an auxiliary. This is going to be my exposure, contrast, then my balance. Lastly, my HSV sat. If you don't know what HSV sat is, I have a video about that called Cinematic Color, or something about Cinematic Color Density. Color Density, I think that's the video. So for the HSV, we go right click, we take the channel off 1, take the channel off 3. This is the meat and potatoes. We're going to work with this. For your exposure, there's different ways of doing it, but I found a new way that I really like. One way is just to take the offset and you just go up with the offset, but you'll see it just raises the entire thing. Another way is going into the HDR and do exposure. This is one way of doing it, which is good. The reason I don't like this is because when you start jumping between clips, sometimes you get caught up in the HDR, but you want to be in SDR. So you kind of jump around, you add contrast. Now all of a sudden you're in the HDR palette instead of the SDR. So I stay away from the HDR palette. What I do is I right click, I change the gamma to linear, and then I just take my gain. See, now I'm stuck in the HDR again. That's what I don't want. I want to be here. And then I just go with my gain. You'll see the black point stays at the bottom, and I like what this does. So that's how I'm going to do exposure. I'm just going to reset this. So once I have this set up, I firstly now need to balance or correct this image. I need to get it to a neutral point before I can add my look. I am looking at my parade here. So what I want to do is I want to move up this entire thing because I want to have my clips all start at 64. So I go contrast. I'm just going offset completely up until I see there. Okay, nothing is clipped. Cool. Now I'm going to copy this node structure to all of these. There are different ways of doing it. My way is on my Stream Deck, I have something that just copies the memory and then I can just go paste, 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 paste. Or I can just click on all of them and paste. Now all of my clips have the same structure and that same adjustment I made here. Let's add a little bit of contrast to this guy. We're going to go up with the offset again. And this is going to be my corrected image. I'm going to go to the vector scope. This looks good, feels balanced to me. Now I'm going to use this as a reference point for my look. And where I'm going to do the look is on the timeline. So it's pretty much affects my entire project. Now I'm here. Before I change it to Rec 709, I'm going to add my look. And you can do whatever you want here, really. For this example, I'm going to use custom curves. And on this panel, which is really cool, it has markings of 20% on the curve. And I can adjust it with the knob. So it gives me a lot of control. So I go here. See, now I have control over red, green, and blue. I'm just going to affect the top part. When I start playing with looks, I don't really want to affect his skin tone. And skin tone usually falls around here, kind of like in the middle to bottom part. I'm just going to affect this. And you're going to see the light behind him change. So let's do it maybe here. And then the green, we're going to do the same type of thing. So I can also see his face is red and that's green. So those are colors that work really well with each other to create color separation. I mean, I'm probably going to change his skin tone to a little bit of yellow. The red looks a bit too rough for me right now, but I'm literally just concentrating on what's behind him and kind of playing around to see what I like. Let's go here. Now you can already see. So we started here and now that's where we are. Here, there. I really like that a lot. So that'll be my color. Now I'm going to play with the contrast. What kind of contrast do I want for this guy? For the entire project. I'm going to go into my curves again, and I'm just going to work with the Luma. It's a bit darker. We can maybe raise it up a bit. And these are really minor tweaks. And I turn it on and off until I'm happy. Kind of like that. And then, just for fun, I'm going to add a DCTL. I got a few over here. One that I really like, and I'm going to give you guys the link. I'll put it in my resource page, which you can find underneath this video in the description. It's a free DCTL, and it has to do with density. And you can add a bit of density to your shot. The nice thing about this is like you can add film density, but then if your reds, you don't want to affect the reds of skin tones, you just take it out. Maybe the green weight, maybe we weight it a bit more. And we play around with it a bit. It's subtle, but it's really nice. Let's do density. And then lastly, I'm going to add grain. So this is like the fun part of the color grading. It's kind of, you're creating the vibe or the feel of your project. So I definitely play around with this and kind of, experiment and see what you like. So this was before and this is after. Before, after, I really like this. I really like the depth this color is creating. So I'm going to take that, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go compound node just to keep things tidy. I'm going to say look. Okay, now we have the look. So if we go back to this clip, remember we have this. The pre-clip is the CST. The timeline is the CST as well. And we have the look here. Now we're going to go into the grade, the correcting. I know when I created this look, his skin was too red, but I'm not going to fix his skin in the look node. Because the look node is more creating the environment for your entire project. The edits on his face or small things like that is going to happen on the clip level. And now what I do, I turn off the look, right? And I break up this grade in two parts. Firstly, I want to get the black points, all of these black points on the same level, wherever that is. And the contrast, I want to make it uniform. So a really easy way to do that is you go to your timeline, you create a new node, and you switch your entire thing to black and white, where you go here and you say monochrome. Now we've taken out one of the elements, which is color, which can kind of play tricks with your eyes. Now I go through every clip and make sure that they match on a black level, light level, and a contrast level. I don't even think about color the first pass. So this is our reference. This is where we want it. I'm looking at the scopes. I'm seeing the black levels there are correct. Everything is on that line. That's like the first thing that I'll do. I'll go, okay, it's on the line, it's on the line, it's on the line, it's on the line. Okay, so all the black levels are correct. And now I'm just going to play this through and see if the contrast levels are right. I'm also looking at the false color here, just to see if anything is clipping. It's really important to look at your scopes and your false color, because if there's something wrong with your monitor, hopefully it's calibrated, but if it's not, these two things are correct. Just going off your eye sometimes can be problematic. I can already feel this feels a bit too light here. This feels too light compared to like there. So here, I'll just drop it a bit. I'll just drop the midtones a bit and bring the lift up a bit. Maybe add a bit of contrast. This is literally just going off my eye now. Because now I'm just matching, right? This feels pretty good. Just on a contrast level, I think this works really well. A good way to do it as well is like going on your timeline and just swiping through these guys. What I also like to do is to see if it's in a good spot matching. Just click on all of them. Click on this guy. And then we go split screen, neighboring clips. And we go next clip, next clip. And then you just have a look. Are they feeling uniform? Are they feeling the same? Even this one might have to come down a little bit actually. There we go. Okay, now that I know the contrast is right, I'm going to get out of this mode. Get me out of here. There we go. Now, I'm going to remove this black and white. Now I'm going to play it through to see what does this look like with color. I think already this looks really good, but personally for me, I think everything is way too bright. Because this is like a bank robbery at night, I'd assume. It's way too bright. We're going to re-add the look because we know all the contrast and all the basic correction is correct. I'm going to re-add the look now because we know all the contrast and the lighting is uniform between the clips. Now let's see what it looks like. Okay, so that ain't bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. If I go into this look and I make any changes, it's going to affect everything. But I don't want to do that because I'm happy with the look. Now I'm going to go to the clip level. Okay, I feel like this needs to be darker because it's a bank robbery at night. So I'll go into my exposure, push down gain, go back in here, add a bit of contrast. Okay, feels a bit better. Yes, feels good. This is super bright. I mean, you can even see here, right? This thing is shot in daylight. So this is going to be a secondary fix, which I'm not going to do in this video because it's going to take too long. But I will also pull down probably to here. How my black's looking. I'm going to push up with the lift. I do not want to go below this 64 level because I don't want it clipped. You might want it clipped if you're going for a specific look, but in general, keeping everything above 64 is actually a good idea because you're not losing any information. So now I go through my clips, say, okay, skin tone looks good, but it seems too bright still. I feel like this is also too bright. Let's bring it down. Just going to add a bit of contrast there again. Now I'm just going off my eye. Going through. That kind of looks nice. This also feels too bright. Darken it down. I'm going to add a bit more contrast here. Okay. So this would be my first pass of this. And I'm kind of happy where it is. So, well, this guy's skin needs to change. So when we're dealing with skin, I'm going to go after these four. I'm going to do my adjustments. This adjustment could be anything. It's like lighting. Could be anything that you feel like needs adjusting in the clip. There's a golden rule in color grading. The less you do, the better. So do not overcomplicate it with a million nodes. Try and only use a few adjustments. And this adjustment is going to be my hue. Hue versus hue. Hue, I'm going to go down. Go back and forth. This feels way more cohesive. You can see. Going back and forth. Just going through the clips. This might also need to be a bit darker. I really like when my image sits at the bottom. I'm going to add a bit of contrast back in here. If this ever feels too dark for me, that's when I jump into the highlights. If this feels too dark to me, I'm not going to take my exposure and just raise everything. All I want to do is I go into my highlights, I go into my log, and I just play with this highlight and go up because I just want the top part of the image to be brighter. Just that, just at the top. Because now when I go up, you'll see the entire image feels like it brightens, but most of my information is still here at the bottom, like on and off. Like it feels way brighter, but it still has that density feel to it. Okay, so I will go through all of this again, make sure everything is matching. Go doom, doom, doom. And to me, that feels good. It feels like it matches. I like the color. I like the look. Now, if I have more time, I go to my secondaries. Clip by clip basis. I'll add a new serial node here. And then I will only add light or light adjustments, meaning I'll create a node here. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever it is. And then I'll start shaping light Like in this scene, where should your eye go? Your eye should probably go here, but it's really bright on this side. So it might not be a bad idea to darken it just a little bit. Just be really subtle with it. And that's what I would do. And that's pretty much my process from start to finish on any type of project.